Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of capping to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I go on the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to.
The Leaf Village was always known as a powerhouse within the world of shinobi. Due to the clans within the Leaf and the Nine Tails itself, no other village dared to contest them. However, those very same clans weren't always fully protected by their Leaf shinobi. The Cloud Village sets up their own heist, in which they are able to grab a Hyuga woman who is ready to come along with their plans, betraying her village and joining the Cloud. When returning from the mission, the elite group presents the woman to the current Raikage. Good. This will be our ultimate weapon against the 4th Hokage. Later down the line, some time had passed, and the Raikage is seen doing his daily training with his son, with Killer Bee, Omui, and Karui watching. With Omui and Karui still being kids, they were amazed. B. How can Zashi dodge the Raikage's attacks like that? Killer Bee explains how the Byakugan can see all, but Omui states, as the son of the Raikage, Zashi is also incredibly fast. We then look down and see the skirmish, as we see Zashi sweating so much to the point where he feels exhausted. Keeping up with his father was no joke at all, and he knows that he's holding back. No wonder he's seen as one of the fastest shinobi in the world. But I'll still surpass him. Now, just which way will you come from? The Raikage is seen speeding around his son, who then focuses on his Byakugan. There, turning his body and swinging his sword, it shocks his father, who immediately sidesteps to dodge and then sends Zashi flying with a punch into the wall. That's enough for today. You did good. Now go rest. The Raikage begins walking away, but he hears something behind him from the rubble. Slowly turning around to see his son, barely standing, performing hand signs. No. I can't lose. Not this time. It's not over yet. I refuse to lose. White lightning surges around his body to the point where it cloaks him. As Zashi roars out, he vanishes. The Raikage was on guard, but from his side is where his son would reappear, and his fist was near his face. Before he could make contact, Zashi then passed out and fell to the ground cold. Waking up later, he comments to himself that his body was in immense pain. But in the room, the Raikage states that he's crazy for even attempting to harness his true lightning like that without even properly training his body. He hadn't even expected Zashi to have developed or even discover that latent ability to actually becoming a shinobi. Since you've already progressed so much, I think it's time. You're only 9 now and far ahead of any Genin that we have in the Cloud. So for the next 3 years, you'll be trained in the storm by my right hand. Ziyashi's heart drops for a moment as he's heard the stories about his father's right hand woman who worked with him all the time through everything. But what exactly was this storm? Is it some sort of hidden village? Zashi is told to gather his things immediately as he leaves for his own training tomorrow. Father, what? You heard me. You must. You are destined to surpass even me and every Raikage before me. Zashi, you will bring about the golden age for the Cloud Village. Trust it. And your crusade to that era begins here. The next day, while Zashi is seen walking towards the village gate, he's intercepted by no one other than Omui and Karui. We heard you were leaving, so we wanted to make sure that we see you off. Zashi hugs both of his close friends, promising to return even stronger than ever. This is when he continues to head towards the gate, where Samui and the Raikage waited for him. Seeing his son, he smiled, kneeling down and placing a hand on his shoulder. Until we meet again, my son. He holds out his fist, and Zashi bumps it before following Samui out of the village. She then relays the details of their mission together. You see, every Raikage has done this trial by storm, and you will be no different. Other than the fact that you will be the youngest to take part in it, so be grateful and proud of your very own skill." He just nods in agreement. With them traveling up the mountains for days on end, Zashi wondered when they would arrive. On about their 5th day, there were dark clouds everywhere, as lightning could be heard as it struck the ground around them, with Samui stating that they were now closer than ever. This was a good spot to set up their camp. Zashi being confused, because this is obviously a dangerous place to just sleep, but she didn't even argue him. Zashi had continued talking, but then stopped, due to something calling his name. It was very unfamiliar to him. But just what was that noise? Zashi then looked towards a tree in the distance, and lightning struck it down. "Good, Zashi. I guess your father wasn't wrong after all." She then has flashes back to a meeting between the two of them that was just a week before he had left, with the Raikage and Killer Bee stating that Ziyashi's potential is truly something to behold. He might surpass all the former Raikage to reach the level of the first one, with Samui not understanding. She had even more questions, and the Raikage responded by stating, "Do you know the reason we have been given this land? It is due to the immense pressure and how the clouds move. Only our bodies can truly handle this weather. But before this village was even created, a soul man lived here with his family. That man's name was Tempest, the first Raikage of the cloud. He lived during the period of the warring states. He was strong like no other, and the storm of our land bended to his every will, being able to summon strikes of lightning with just a step on the battlefield. One day, he had battled Madara Uchiha and lost. However, he was spared due to Madara believing that he could become stronger and even a great rival one day. Seeing as this defeat was too much for him, he had used the storms and their lightning to create the Cloud Village, and then hid himself away in the mountains, allowing his spirits to become one with the Tempest storm. However, he left a message that was carved into a stone at the bottom of this building. He who was born worthy to inherit the storm will bring about the golden age of ninjutsu for this village. But not only that, they shall inherit the storm as my will, as the first Raikage, gaining the title of True Tempest. Going back to the present, we would see Zashi with his back turned. She knew it was him. The true Tempest of the Cloud Village had now been reborn into this boy. Zashi then asked when they would begin, and she attacked him, and he would block the attack as she smiled, stating now. Suddenly 4 years had went by faster than ever. As the Raikage sat in his office, looking at Karui and Omui. Seems as if you two are finally ready to take part in the Leaf's tuning exams this year. Karui speaks up. Well, we would still need our teammate to return. The Raikage stands and looks out of the window. Dark clouds soon overtake the village, as many wonder if it was another storm. Samui then opens the door to the office and smiles, kneeling down. "We have returned, Lord Fourth." He smiles, opening the window, welcoming his son. White lightning strikes down at the gate of the village, and then out from it emerges Zashi with 2 blades on his back and a ripped shirt. "It's been a while since I've been home. Hopefully I haven't missed too much." The guards at the gate bow to him on instinct, and Zashi takes 1 step forward, vanishing from their sight and appearing in front of his father's window, looking down before bowing to his father. "Hello, father." The Raikage can do nothing but smirk and whisper the name Tempest. Zashi opens his eyes, revealing the glowing Byakugan. The storm then floats away and the skies clear up, with Ziyashi's lightning that was around his body vanishing. Karui then speaks up, asking if he's ready for the tuning exams because he's been gone so long, and he raises his head. "It's good to see you all again, but I think it's time that we let all the other villages know what we have in store for them. Our protagonist steps out of the window once again and pulls back his hands. Lightning forms and he sends it into the sky, which causes a loud explosion and expands to the point where it could be seen from every village, causing their respective Kage to wonder where it came from. Weeks go by as Darui's squad arrives at the gate of the hidden leaf. So this is where the exams will be held. Zashi looks around the guards, but Karui hits him on the head. Don't go sneaking off, remember? We have to make sure we still look good for our village. Yeah. Don't you think I already know that as a Raikage's son? Anyway, I'm going to find something good to eat. Zashi walks off while she continues yelling at him. And he keeps looking around. This is pretty bland if you ask me. He then bumps into the back of someone with red hair. At this moment, Gaara was having a stare down with Team 7. Touch me again, and I'll kill you. Team 7 wondered who this was until seeing his headband. They didn't know much about the cloud, but it was rumored that the lightning that struck the sky was from that direction. Zashi then placed his hand on Gaara's shoulder looking at him. Don't press your luck, but I apologize for bumping into you. Gaara would try to attack him, but he slammed to the ground instantly, and Zashi continues walking forward to Naruto. You're from here, right? Where can I get something good to eat? Naruto then tells him to follow him, while the Sand siblings try and stop Gaara. Naruto and Zashi sit down at Ichiraku Ramen, with Sasuke and Sakura also arriving, wondering just who this mystery cloud shinobi is. While eating, Naruto asked him if he saw that lightning in the sky, causing Zashi to smile. Hey, can you three keep a secret? It'll be my way of repaying you for the meal. Each one of them looks at each other and then nods, turning back to him. My name is Zashi Hyuga, the son of the current Kage of the Cloud Village. Zashi turns on his Byakugan and leaves in a flash before they could ask him anything else. Who the heck was that guy? Sasuke and Naruto both had the same thought, wondering if the Hyuga clan was looking for him, but they also wanted to fight him. A couple days would go by, and the first test of the exams arrives. Team Darui walks into the building immediately and finds the testing room. Karui tells Zashi to make sure he focuses on this part. Due to him being gone, his knowledge may be limited. He sighs and does as he's told, with their team easily passing the first test, but when the proctors look, there was nothing on his paper, not even his name. This brat's got some balls on him. Makes sense being the son of the Raikage who fought Lord Fourth. The two men would smirk, as we now see the teams making it into the next testing grounds, where the rules are explained, with Zashi noting that if he was by himself, it'll take him 40 seconds from here to get to the tower, but he needs to focus on trying to get the scroll that they need. They would later enter, and Omui pulls out his blade, looking ahead. Zashi, you know what to do. Yeah, you're right. Byakugan. Searching around, he finds a team, and it was Team Ino Shikacho. Speeding up towards them, we then get to see their POV. As Shikamaru was coming up with a plan, black and white lightning slashes headed their way, cutting down trees. The three of them are able to move out of the way, and Ino lands on a branch. However, Karui already had a kunai to her neck. This should be easy. Which one of your teammates have the scroll? You'll never know. Ino poofs into smoke, and we see the real version of her relaying information to Shikamaru and Choji. Both of you, stay on high alert. They're strong, and that girl is fast. Choji stretches himself and then covers the area for Shikamaru. Before Zashi and his team can even move, they're caught by Shikamaru and his clones using the Shadow Possession Jutsu. The three Leaf Shinobi high-five as their plan had worked and began walking towards Zashi to take the scroll that was on his chest. While taking another step, Zashi would smirk, but they couldn't see it. As Shikamaru had reached out, lightning struck down in the area, blasting them away, and Shikamaru landed against a tree. What the? He looks up, seeing the glowing eyes of Zashi and his own lightning before passing out and waking up with Naruto in front of him. Huh? Darui then congratulated his team once they arrived, but Zashi had disappeared, making them realize they had cloned himself, but they just don't remember when. Darui facepalms, knowing what he's doing. I can't say I blame him at all, but to go out and face the son of the late 4th Hokage now, he may be more troublesome than you believe, Zashi. Just make sure you return quickly. The two Leaf teams continue their journey, but are later confronted by Kabuto and the Sound Shinobi, which includes Orochimaru, who was still in disguise. With them being surrounded, Zashi appears, taking out his blades. Yo, look like you all could use a hand. Shikamaru raises his guard, telling all of them to be cautious, but Zashi states he's here to help them get their scrolls, tossing Shikamaru a scroll, stating that these guys have the other one that his team needs. Then he points to Naruto. I can't let you lose here, as one day I have to defeat you for my father's honor. Naruto was confused, but he brought on the challenge. Well, let me help you take out these guys here first. Consider this the first bond I establish as the future Kage of the Cloud between the Leaf Village. Hearing that, Naruto exclaims that he plans to be the Hokage as well. With Zashi responding, he expected no less from his future rival. With them being surrounded, Zashi sees through the disguise of Orochimaru, attacking him first. It's blocked and the two engage in their own sword battle. So you can see through it with your Byakugan, huh? As a Raikage spoiled brat, I expected no less from you at all. Zashi smiles, swinging his blade, but it's blocked again. Still, you're immature and don't know what this world has in store for you. A blade shoots from the mouth of Orochimaru. However, it's caught, and the second blade of Zashi is then pulled out, as he tells them that their fight truly begins now. Lightning surrounds his blades as he looks forward and swings them, with each swing causing lightning strikes to fly off towards his opponent. Orochimaru doesn't recognize this jutsu since his activation had no hand signs until he realizes this boy's, his spirit is blessed by that of the first Raikage, the true Tempest. Learning that this is more dangerous than he believed, he summoned his snakes that swarm Zashi while he leaves the curse mark on Sasuke's neck. He tries to put the 5-pronged seal on Naruto, but it's stopped by Zashi, who moved in at the very last moment with a white aura of lightning surrounding his body. He would cut off his hands and sends him flying, with Zashi then tossing the scroll to Shikamaru. Take Naruto and Sasuke to the tower. Shikamaru and Sakura would nod, telling him he's crazy, but they need a path to go forward. That's when Zashi raises his hand, using a wind style combined with his lightning, to send a horizontal thunderstorm towards the tower, creating a path for the two teams. Now, it was just Zashi against the Sound Shinobi, or Grass Shinobi. Kabuto claims he's outnumbered and will be crushed. Even in that form, he has no chance of winning. Ino then lets him know that they're out of range, so he smirks. Good. I can let loose a little. Putting his hands together and placing his blades back on his back, he looks forward. He would warn them, but he also begins focusing his chakra. Omui and Karui look on as they would hear an explosion to look back at the forest to see an explosion of lightning. Darui once again prepares himself and vanishes from the area. This is when we would see Zashi, shirtless, walking forward with cuts and scratches all over his body, as we could see his scars and that he was bleeding. The Byakugan was deactive, and he had no electricity around his body at all. Damn it. I still think they were able to get away from that last attack. Whatever, they'll be out of commission for a while, so at least I can rest. Now to just make it back to the tower. Zashi looks up, with his vision beginning to blur, and he also begins falling forward, but he's caught by his sensei. Damn it, I told you not to go all out like that. He would continue to rant, until hearing the soft breathing of his student, realizing that he was asleep. Just who could he be fighting? Later it's found out that Orochimaru was here within the village, causing Darui to be called to a meeting with Kakashi and the Hokage, wherein the Hokage thanked him for what he's done and what his student was able to do. But this is where Darui lets them all know something very important. To the Cloud Village, Zashi is more important than their own Jinchuriki, so they hold his ideals close as well. As the young master plans to fight Naruto in order to defeat him, they would question this, and he explains. The reason for that being the legend of the Yellow Flash, and we've already deducted that he is the son of the late 4th Hokage, and also the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Zashi, my student, plans to befriend Naruto as he also wishes to become his rival, but now he sees him as an obstacle. With the spirit of the first Tempest now living within the boy, he's only going to grow even stronger, to the point where I can't even stop him. He's uncontrollable at this point. But why are you telling us this? Because there will be one day where an alliance between our two villages. It's like my student has stated to me many times. The strong must stand together in order to protect the weak, and the storms must be present in order for the sky to one day be clear. Kakashi, train him well. I don't want Zashi to be disappointed at all. And Lord Third, be sure to ready yourself, as your student will return, and when he does, we're going to kill him. Walking out of the room, the two wondered what the history was between the Cloud and Orochimaru, but they couldn't focus on that right now. The preliminary matches would be announced, and of course many of the fights would go the exact same, with Zashi actually facing Choji here. Going down to fight, Asuma tells Choji to ready himself. However, once he was away, Shikamaru states that he stands no chance at all. Asuma tells him not to get down on his teammates so early, but he continues. Sensei, I don't think you understand how strong that guy is. The only reason we escaped from Orochimaru and his shinobi is because he held them off. Asuma has sweat drop down his face hearing that, while looking on and remembering the explosion. But then he looks down at the boy, as it seems that big release of power had affected him as well. His entire torso was covered in bandages, as well as he was bleeding from some of them. The match begins, and Choji rushes in, landing a punch on Zashi that sends him flying. Shikamaru was confused by this, but Omui and Karui would sigh. Guess he went too overboard in his last fight, and now his body's feeling the repercussions. The Hyuga were also here in attendance, noticing the boy's eyes, and felt some connection to him, but they wanted to see where this battle would go. Zashi is continuously put on the defense by Choji and is forced to evade attacks while coming up with his own plan. Flipping over him and gaining distance, he would smirk. I just need one good hit, that's all. Performing hand signs, quicker than some jonin, he shouted, lightning style, fangs of the white dragon. Pointing his hand out, from it shoots a lightning dragon that emerged, swirling around Choji before completely encasing him within itself, paralyzing him for just a moment. Zashi then appeared right in front of him. Here it is, Byakugan, 32 palm strike. Knocking Choji completely unconscious and winning the battle, the Hyuga are dumbfounded by what they see, as they need to figure out the boy's true lineage. But just who could he be a descendant from? With that, Omui wins his match against Shino, and Karui wins against Tenten, meaning that here, some of the shinobi do get a pass onto the next round, but they now have a month's time to train and to recover. Zashi goes off, on his own as he does always, and he was nowhere to be found by anyone. But while he trained, he then figured out something, going off to find someone else, as he would find Neji, tirelessly training with other Hyuga within the compound. But then, they would disappear, as Neji was left alone and he appeared. So this is the Hyuga clan compound. I was told so much about it. My mother truly did hate this place. Who are you really, and why have you come here? I want to learn the true secrets of these eyes that I've been blessed with. But the only way to do that is to learn from you and the others here. Neji looks at him, waving him off. And, as he thinks that he's left, he's forced to block a strike. Whether you want to or not, you're stuck with me, brother. Neji, hearing that, strikes Zashi back and asks him to explain. Well, I wouldn't say we're full-blooded siblings, but it's close enough, don't you think? And don't you want to know what happened to our mother? Neji's heart drops at this statement, asking Zashi to explain, but he states only if he's allowed to train with Neji by himself. For the first time in his life, Neji felt a true desire to do something, not for anyone else, but for himself. So he would go with Zashi, as they would go into the forest and sit down and talk, with Neji asking about their mother. He doesn't believe Zashi, since he tells him that she was kidnapped and killed shortly after his birth. Zashi then sighs. Well, what if I told you she left on purpose and that she's alive? Neji wouldn't believe it at all, but then we would have a flashback while Zashi continues to explain. Going to the first time where their mother encountered the Raikage on the battlefield, but they weren't fighting each other. Instead, the Raikage was more injured from a battle against the Yellow Flash, and while laying against a tree, almost unconscious, it was their mother who had healed his wounds. Knowing that this would be called for treason, the Raikage stated that he had also hated war, and they had wished for their villages to one day become comrades. From this point on, their mother sent letters to the Raikage after the war and eventually fell in love with him. In the words of their mother, it's like the Hyuga clan. She had cared for them so much, but the branch members were treated so badly. In fact, she would try to convince some of them to leave with her, but they denied it in fear. So right after Neji was born, she ran away with him in the snowy night, being tracked down by no one other than his father, Zashi. And after finally catching up with him at the bridge, Zashi noticed that the Cloud Shinobi were guarding her. He pleaded with her to come back and bring their son back as well. But she said that she was leaving. So he made a deal, promising that he wouldn't tell anyone of her escape if she just left Neji with him. She would look at the baby Neji and begin crying, but agreed as long as he promised to cover their tracks and make it look as if she had died. Their mother cut their hand, leaving her own blood on the scene so that it could be found, and then they destroyed the bridge to make it seem as if she fell into the frozen water below. Neji, not believing this, was in shock. That couldn't be. His father had told him the truth, but why would this kid be lying to him? If you don't believe me, do you want to meet her? Neji turned, grabbing Zashi by his collar. Are you sure she's alive? What if I told you she was already here, and she's already watched both of our fights during the exams? Neji called his bluff, but then he heard footsteps. Out from behind a tree, a woman who stood with grace and elegance walked. Her outfit was that of a confident queen who had loved her people. The royal purple around her outfit was something to behold, as she turned to Neji, touching his face, with tears coming out from her own. I'm sorry. I could not be there for you. But his words are the truth. Neji shakes his head, with tears forming. No, this is a lie. It has to be some type of genjutsu that's been placed on me. My mother is dead. My father saw it with his own eyes. She hugs Neji and tells him that it's okay. Zashi, seeing this, smiled while leaning against a tree. Stop crying already. You're supposed to be my big brother after all. Neji looks at them both and then to her forehead, not seeing the seal. Oh, that? It was removed a long time ago. Now, let's take a pause real quick. I know the seal within the anime usually can't be broken or undone until a branch member's death. But let's change that up here, for some story convenience, you know? Now alright, let's get back into it. She places her hand upon Neji's forehead, and it glows for a moment as he then passes out. Zashi then picks him up, complaining he's heavier than he looks, but she looks down at him. Thank you. Zashi smiles as his mother is his weak spot. When Neji awakens, they were already in the Cloud Village. He wonders how he got here, but Zashi tells him that he's been asleep for over 3 days. Neji then looks around and then to a mirror to see that he doesn't have the seal upon his forehead. It cannot be. But how? This is when their mother appears, and Zashi bows to her. There is no need, my son. Neji, it took me 5 years of constant research to break that seal. But you are now free and can make your own choices. I'm not asking you to leave your father. Neji then stops her. He died a while ago as well. She thought as much, but then asked him to abandon the leaf and join them within the cloud, his real family. From here, the month of time passed, and they returned to the leaf. Neji seemed completely different when returning, as his first battle that would happen would be Zashi versus Gaara, which may be very interesting, to say the least. Jumping down to begin their battle, Zashi states that he plans to end this quickly. I'll kill you. Sand is sent his way, but he vanishes. Appearing in a new spot, everyone is shocked by his pure speed. The Hokage himself states that this boy continues to evolve. He might just rival the Yellow Flash. Zashi looked ahead, dodging more sand again and then slamming his fist into Gaara's chest. The wind is knocked out of him, and Gaara thinks about his speed being so much more than that of Rock Lee. How annoying. He reaches out to grab him with sand, but is kicked in the face and sent flying. Before he lands, Zashi appears, landing another hit, as it leads to a continuous chain of attacks. Kakashi arrives with Sasuke and looks on at the battle, noting that he's quite impressive. However, it seems that he's holding back a lot. They wonder why, until they feel a monstrous presence. When everyone looks down, they see Zashi with his hand on his blade. Lightning beginning to surge around his body. Any incoming sand is reduced to ash right in front of their eyes. His hair spikes up and he yells release. A blinding light shines on the arena, and when it dissipates, Zashi stands in complete lightning cloak. Stand there and I'll kill you. Just die already. Looking down, Sasuke and Naruto note that this is different than before. This state of power was scarier. Kakashi wonders about it as well. And the one to break the silence is Darui. This is Lord Ziyashi's true potential unleashing. The pure white lightning he possesses is inherited from the spirit of the first Raikage. And here is just a sliver of that power. Pay attention, Leaf Shinobi, as you may miss it if you blink. Zashi fully releases his blade, and shockwaves fill the arena. The Hokage thinks to himself that this pressure reminds him that of a tailed beast, but to a lesser extent, of course. But what was this boy planning to do? Kill Gaara? The wind pressure? Well, they feel it, and Zashi vanishes in an instant, and Gaara is seen with a slash across his own chest. The Jinchuriki of the Sand Village turns to Zashi, not knowing what he had done, until feeling the heat of his own blood rushing out. Encasing himself in sand as a precaution, he begins to scream in agony. The beast inside of the boy then begins taking control, and when that happened, the attack on the leaf began. Snakes burst through the gates, while the grass or sound shinobi quickly enter. Those who were already in the stadium began to fall under the genjutsu, with Orochimaru going for the Hokage and their own battle beginning, only for someone else to arrive to help him. He had white and gold robes on, but then threw off his hood, revealing that he was the Raikage himself, appearing and blocking one of the attacks, claiming the Hokage to be his ally here. The old man nods in hopes that the rest of their shinobi can defend the village. Meanwhile, Gaara ran into the forest while being taken over by Shukaku. Of course, Naruto and Sasuke would chase after him, with Sasuke using the power of the curse mark. And since Naruto was still full of energy, he tried to summon a little bit of his own tail beast chakra. And while that went on, Zashi took his mother far away from the village, with his speed to a hidden location where she could stay until it was over. I'll be back, mother. Go and save them, my son. Zashi nodded, turning on his cloak of lightning even further and vanishing before her eyes, giving her flashes to the Raikage. just like your father. Within the leaf is where he reappeared, first helping his team who was surrounded. About time you showed up. Shut up, Karui. Just be thankful that he appeared. Zashi walks over to Omui, tapping his blade, causing black and white lightning to surround it. When Daru makes it to his team, it becomes a cakewalk for them to defeat their opponents. But then, we would also see him make it to Kakashi as the two would stand back to back while fighting. Within the Hyuga clan compound, they were losing it, but Neji emerges, defeating the enemies in front of him. Not only was he faster, but his strikes had seemingly more force. Defending the main family, he pushed back their attackers. Neji was thanked for his efforts, but he told the head of the Hyuga clan to leave him alone. He is no longer owned by them. What? You dare speak to me like that even in a time like this? He raises his fingers, trying to activate the seal, but nothing happens at all, shocking their leader. He continues to try to do it, but Neji stands proud and kicks him to the ground. My eyes have been opened to the truth, and those of the branch family who wish to be free, follow me. No one follows, and they would watch as Neji drops his leaf headband, placing on a cloud one instead. My true journey begins now. Going back to the forest, Naruto is seen fighting the One-Tails, causing Zashi to head that way. Right as the sand was going to crush them, it was blasted away by lightning. Sorry I'm a little late. Naruto then stands up. No, actually you're right on time. So what's the plan, Naruto? Get me an opening, and I'll do the rest. Sounds good to me. Zashi runs ahead, rushing in, dodging the sand that the One-Tails was creating, weaving through branches within the forest as well. My speed is increased so much that this should be even easier. Jumping onto the top of the tree, he swings lightning off of his blades to rip apart the incoming sand. This is when Shikaku causes a wave of sand to rise and crash down upon him. While watching it fall, Zashi began smiling. That's even better. Bring it on, you raging beast. I live for a challenge like this. True lightning, berserk slashes. Strikes of lightning rip apart the wave of sand that could be seen slashing into the sky. Right as this attack finished, a roar was heard from behind Zashi, as he would turn around to see the nine-tailed fox rushing ahead as now an opening was cleared. From here, the attack on Konoha goes the same except for Orochimaru escaping with his arms and Haruza not being dead. And due to the fact that the Raikage and his people assisted the Leaf, a relationship was created between the two villages. As many days after the incident, the Cloud Shinobi began their journey back home. But when standing at the gate of the village, Naruto ran up to it. Zashi, wait up. Hey, become even stronger, you know? So we can one day do our battle. Yeah, you're right. Zashi holds up his fist. Don't let me down. We both have to achieve our dreams. Naruto nods, bumping his fist, as this is where our time skip into Shippuden would happen. We'll have to skip far into Shippuden, to by the time Naruto defeats Pain and the Leaf begins recovering. As you know, during this time is when Sasuke defeats his brother and later joins the Akatsuki, with his first mission with Team Taka being to recover the Eight Tails. However, when making it past the guards of this village, the team finds no one, causing Jugo to question where their citizens were. You all are a little too late. They've already been evacuated. Sasuke knows this voice all too well. Zashi. They turn, seeing him sitting on a building. Seeing as they're in those robes, this won't be a friendly battle now, will it? No, we've come for the Eight Tails, so hand him over. Sorry, Sasuke, but I can't do that at all, and you know that. But seeing as we were friends at one point in time, I won't kill you for the sake of Naruto. As for your friends, they don't get that pleasure, as I can't afford to lose. You see, I'm finally on my 100th trial. Jugo gets ready to attack, but Suigetsu stops him. Wait, Jugo. I know who this guy is. This is Zashi of the Cloud Village, otherwise known as the Stormbringer. Karin asked Sasuke how he knows this guy. He's incredibly dangerous, but they're interrupted by Zashi jumping down and standing straight up as they realize he's even taller than they imagined, and he's put on a lot more muscle like his father. As I stated, I'm on my 100th trial, and once it's complete, I'll have the necessary requirements to become the next Kage of this village. I've done 100 missions, specially crafted by the elders of this village, every one harder than the last. Suigetsu gulps as he was nervous and asked him a question. So what's the last trial? Zashi gets into a fighting stance. Win 100 consecutive battles. And I'm on my final one. But wait, there are 4 of us. But right as he thinks this, Jugo is hit and sent flying. What the? I didn't even see him move. Karin gets ready and Sasuke swings his blade, only for it to be caught in Ziyashi's teeth. He vanishes from their sight again and hits Sasuke into a building. He now stood in the middle of the 4 who had recovered. All of you, stay on guard. This will be tougher than anything we've faced before. Zashi begins to get ready and removes his jacket, revealing the scars all around his body. But they aren't just regular slashes. No, they almost look like sparks of electricity. Jugo, who appears next to him using his own curse mark to enhance his strength, swings his fist, but it's caught. A fist is then slammed into his stomach, causing him to cough up blood. Not so fast, tough guy. Suigetsu swings his blade, but it lands on the neck of Zashi, barely even grazing his skin and not even fully piercing it, but it draws a drop of blood. What the hell is this guy made out of, steel? Zashi then sends these 2 flying and turns to the girl. However, Sasuke faced him with his blade and his Sharingan, continuously dodging his swings and attacks. Zashi comments how his strength couldn't possibly take down the great Itachi, who even his father said was an incredible warrior. An agitated Sasuke activates a Mangekyo Sharingan and then sends out the black flames towards Zashi. He would vanish in an instant, looking down at his opponent. Scary flames you got there. But remember, this is my domain, so play nice. As for those eyes of yours, aren't they called the Mangekyo Sharingan? Pretty incredible that you've awakened them. Sasuke then begins swinging his arms. How do you know so much? Oh, well, I guess it isn't obvious to the normal person. But it's part of my nickname, Stormbringer. I control the storms and they listen to my will. But not only that, I listen to theirs. So, when you fought your brother, I guess you can say I was there, but I wasn't. And I also know that that masked man who claims himself to be Madara Uchiha was there as well and may try to save you in our battle, but I won't allow that. Not only will I win here, but I'll capture you. Sasuke complains that that won't happen and gets serious. The battle continues and it's intense. Of course, Team Taka can make no progress against the overwhelming speed and strength of Zashi. But it also seemed that he was holding back as he was trying to get information. So that prolonged the battle even more. Eventually, each one of them respectively stopped attacking, with Sasuke asking Zashi, why not truly take me serious and use your lightning cloak or jutsu? Oh, that. I was wondering when you all would ask. Well, if you may know, it's the restriction for me to do my 100 consecutive battles, to win without my jutsu or my tempest abilities, including my lightning cloak. Everything you've seen thus far is what I'm able to do while restricted and holding back. I was trying to bait out the masked man, but it looks like there's no point to doing so. Zashi is then seen pulling out his blades. Just from him unsheathing them, they all stand even more on guard. Jugo then feels a sharp sensation against his neck. Fall. His head isn't cut off before he even knew it. No way. He can move that fast? Before Zashi can continue their battle, the masked man had appeared and warped them away without even saying a word. With that now being out of the way, Zashi sits down and Neji appears, sporting a new black outfit. You were too easy on him. You still let your emotions guide you, brother. I know it, but I can't help it. It may sound bad, but I don't believe Sasuke came here of his own will. The masked man may be manipulating him. As for this, well, I wish I could have captured him at least, to gain information. But I still needed one dead body to count as my victory, didn't I? Neji sighs, nodding, as they would go off to find the Raikage. After they find him, they begin rebuilding the destroyed buildings and send shinobi to the Leaf Village before the Kage Summit will be held. Of course, here Zashi isn't at the Kage Summit. Instead, he'd be preparing for what comes next. With the war now being on the horizon, who knew what would happen? Even with their sheer numbers, many wondered how this war would go. At the meeting place of the main battlefield, each one of the Kage stood and listened to the speech that Gaara said that motivated thousands. We see our hero sitting down on the main battlefield on a rock pillar, watching everything go down. Later on down the line is when the dead shinobi begin to get revived around every battlefield. Sensing something different here, he waited, as he would eventually turn his head to see someone land in the middle of the battlefield. He would begin destroying all the regular shinobis who stood no chance at all. Oh, so it truly begins. Most of the shinobi are able to seal some of the revived warriors, but some require more effort than others. With Madara now being summoned, the shinobi would quiver in fear. As he begins to test out his new body, he's stopped and interrupted by a wind attack as Zashi appears to him. The great Madara Uchiha. Seems those here can't even hold a candle to you. But I won't back down from this challenge. And who might you be? I must say, I enjoy that bravado that you currently show, but the power I hold will surely overwhelm you. It's simple actually. I'm the one who's next in line to become the next Raikage, Zashi Hyuga, the Stormbringer and current Tempest of this world. Hearing the name Tempest gave Madara a short flashback to the battle he had with a man with the same nickname. This boy must be his descendant. How amusing. Well then, let it begin. As Madara finished those words, Zashi appeared to his side, swinging his fist. It's countered, and he's hit, with Madara flipping back. Still, Zashi doesn't back down, chasing after him to land a strike. These two would engage in a taijutsu battle that leaves everyone in awe. However, it's clear that Zashi is lacking as he hasn't landed a single hit, and Madara isn't taking any damage thus far. You know, boy, you amuse me. Madara slams his fist into his face, sending him flying. Then he sends down a fireball as well. Show me more of that confidence that you had earlier. As the fireball approaches him, Zashi smirks. Man, I can't help it, I'm just more excited. He's even stronger than I could have ever imagined. Lightning then bursts from the area, sending shockwaves all the way back to the shinobi watching them. Oh, so he's getting serious as well. Emerging from the dust, Zashi wipes off some of the ash that the attack had left. White lightning began to surge around his body as Madara readied himself to now be face to face with the boy. Impressive speed, but I believe you may be even faster than Hashirama's younger brother. Zashi lends an attack for the first time due to Madara's Sharingan reading the movement of an after image. Sending the Uchiha flying, he had smirked. Knowing that attack did nothing, Madara put his hands together using his Susanoo. Zashi readies himself and rushes in. However, he has to block one blade and then catch another. Gaara then was trying to jump in, but he yells out no. This was his battle alone. Oh, so you wish to fight honorably. I can commend that as a warrior myself. But what will you do now, boy? Your hands are completely tied up. A crack is then heard as we look down to see the blades breaking within the hands of Zashi. He begins yelling as hard as he can, releasing more of his lightning until an explosion goes off, with his Susanoo having cracks all over it. Gaara still jumps in, swinging Madara out of the Susanoo with one of Naruto's clones using the Rasen Shuriken to try and destroy his body, which would cause the awakening of his Rinnegan. And with that, Madara drops a meteor on the battlefield. Inoki is able to hold it up, but Zashi stands on the ground. Go ahead and move out of the way, old man. I've got this one. holding his hands up and forming an arrow of lightning. He smirked as it ripped the meteor to shreds. Firing the attack off, it completely shatters it. Madara commends this, but asks what they would do about the second one, as Zashi and Gaara are able to dispatch that one as well. But then this moment is where his lightning cloak wears off. Taking advantage of it, we would see that Madara grabbed a blade and stabbed him right through the chest. Rest easy, young warrior. But I shall remember your name. The blade was through Zashi's body as he laughed even harder. With a storm covering the wasteland, he continues to laugh. Lightning strikes down upon the two of them, with Zashi vanishing and Madara being scorched by it. And since it was a natural element, it couldn't be, well, absorbed by the Rinnegan, even if he wanted to. From here on out, the war continues about the same until we get to one of the final battles. Each one of the Kage had already been defeated, and Madara had emerged as the 10 Tails Jinchuriki. While it rained and it stormed on the battlefield, they believed that all hope was lost. Might Guy prepared to enter the 8 gates, and while he did so, a voice called out in excitement. I hate to be one to ask for a rematch after losing fairly, but why not, with so much on the line? Zashi reappears with the lightning striking down around him. This time, he had seemed much different, holding his twin blades and looking ahead as he had no shirt on. All his scars glowed intensely, as did his eyes. What the hell is this? Tobirama, who was there, smirked. So the spirit of that ungodly man lives on. How amusing. The Tempest, who controls the storms, has reincarnated into that boy's soul. Many of the Leaf Shinobi had looked puzzled. So, Tobirama continued. Long ago, before the cloud was founded, the very first Tempest had also fought my elder brother and Madara, losing in each battle, but it was a very close call. He had swore that his spirit would reincarnate and become even stronger. I'm just surprised he's already done so. However, this boy is different than that man. He may be even surpassing the first Tempest's original power by tenfold. With that much power accumulating over decades, there's no telling how strong that boy is. Yo, Kakashi, give me the situation thus far. Kakashi explains it and he looks to Might Guy. I'll buy you some time. Until then, join me in the battle. I'm sure we can take him down here and now. Might Guy nods and Zashi vanishes, kicking Madara in the stomach and sending him flying. Following Madara, he would note that his speed is increased drastically. From his side, Zashi throws a punch, but the Limbo clone recovers, blocking it. Only for the clone to completely be sent away by the shockwaves that would cover the area. As Madara was in thought, Might Guy appeared within the 8-gate state, and he slammed his foot into his arm, breaking it. Damn it all! Madara now looks ahead with both his formidable foes standing before him. That's more like it. Try and delay the inevitable. White and red attacks surge around him while he tries to avoid them. The Limbo clones are completely dismantled by their taijutsu, as Madara is rocked back and forth over and over again, as even worse than in the original. It seems that these two put together are on a whole different level. And Zashi is learning Might Guy's skills, working around him perfectly. Blitzing Madara with his speed, Might Guy prepares his final attack, while Zashi does the same, charging up lightning that surges around his body, completely covering each of his scars and breaking the ground that he was standing on. As he would look up, seeing Might Guy on the other side, he would smile. This is something that he'd always dreamed of, not having to hold back in a battle. Might Guy is able to hit him with his kick, and Zashi lands a punch to the other side, completely ripping off one of his arms. When the dust settles, Zashi was still standing, while Madara laid against a large rock, coughing up blood and slowly healing. He sends out the truth-seeking orbs to his two foes, as Might Guy looked like he was fully out of commission, and Zashi was leaning down as he couldn't even move his legs because of how tired he was. Suddenly, Sasuke and Naruto reappeared, blocking the attacks for them, each sporting their new powers. With Naruto standing in front of Zashi, he turns back to him. "Thanks for holding him off." Zashi smiles, telling his friend to finish this battle as he leaves it in his hands. Naruto then walks over to Might Guy, restoring him, in a way. And, while he did so, he looked on to see that Zashi was starting to fall down, almost unconscious, but Darui was the one to catch him. "Hey, you did good, but I can't have a student of mine falling down when we're so close to winning." "Thanks, Sensei. It seems that you're always catching me when I fall at my worst moments." "How was I?" Darui looks at Zashi, noting how tired the boy was, but also seeing the little kid who he had almost helped raise in a way. "Your father would be proud." Zashi smiles, and he lets himself fall asleep just for the moment, as he knows that his friends will handle it. From here on out, we know how the story would go, as after the war is concluded, each nation has to return to their own village and begin rebuilding what they have lost. Only a year of time would go by as we would see Lord Zashi become the next Raikage, walking into the Leaf Village. With Kakashi now being the Kage of it, he finds Naruto. They go to Ichiraku Ramen like the good old times, with Naruto escorting him to the gate of the village. "So where are your guards?" "Oh, I came here by myself. I snuck off actually." Naruto was shocked and Zashi holds out his fist. "It seems like you'll be named the 7th Hokage, so don't disappoint me, Naruto Uzumaki." "You got it." Bumping fist caused Zashi to vanish in a flash, returning to his own office. Entering the dark room, a light is turned on and he's hit on the head by his advisor and assistant, Neji Hyuga. "Damn it, don't you know you can't just sneak off like that? You are the Kage of this village. You have responsibilities, especially now." Yeah, I get it." Neji activates his Byakugan, glaring. "No, I don't think you do, so I have to teach you a lesson here, Lord Fifth." As he begins hitting Zashi, someone walked into the office. "I should have known you boys would be doing this." Both of them stop and look at their mom while smiling. This is where our story would end, and I hope you all enjoyed this one, as I tried to add a unique power to the world of Naruto to make myself stand out. But I wanted that power to slowly grow with my character, not having a complete grasp on it. As for Neji being a part of my story, that's just because he's my favorite character. And the spirit of the first Tempest literally came to me in a dream that I had like a couple months ago when I was thinking of this story. I just hope I was able to do it justice here. If you did enjoy this story and you want to see more like it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to drop down any what ifs that you do want to see in the comments below. My name is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.